What if I told you that Sung Jinwoo's shadow army isn't just a collection of dead bodies? What if every single soldier he's ever extracted, every knight, every beast, every demon went through a secret transformation the moment they entered his shadow? Not just a power-up, not just a resurrection, a complete rebirth, a psychological evolution, a change so deep that some of them stopped being what they were and became something entirely new. Today, we're going underground, literally into Jinwoo's shadow army to uncover the secret evolution of every major shadow soldier. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will never look at Igris, Beru, or Tank the same way again. Let's get into it. How shadow extraction actually works, the hidden truth. Most people think shadow extraction is simple. You kill a strong enemy, you pull out their shadow, done. Wrong. Shadow extraction is not just a copy-paste of the original being. It is a spiritual reconstruction. When Jinwoo uses the skill, he isn't just preserving the corpse, he is reaching into the essence of that creature and rebuilding it inside the domain of darkness. Think of it like this. Imagine you take a sword, melt it down completely, and reforge it. The metal is the same, but the sword, it's different. Sharper, purer, bound to a new master. That's exactly what happens to every shadow soldier. Their memories, their instincts, their fighting style, all of it is retained. But their will, their purpose, their very identity that gets rewritten around one singular loyalty, Sung Jinwoo. And here's the deeper part that most analyses skip over entirely. The stronger the original creature was in life, the more complex their shadow becomes. Weak monsters stay simple. Strong ones, they evolve. They develop something dangerously close to personality. That's the foundation. Now let's talk about the soldiers themselves. Igris, from Knight of Destruction to the King's Blade. Igris was the first true boss-level Shadow Jinwoo ever extracted, and he remains one of the most important characters in the entire Shadow Army, not because of raw power, but because of what he represents. Before extraction, Igris was a Red Knight, a guardian of the Demon Castle, an elite warrior whose entire existence was built on one thing: stopping intruders from reaching the boss floor. He was a wall. Cold, mechanical, relentless. But look at Igris after extraction. Look at how he carries himself. There is a quiet dignity to him, a restraint. Where other shadows charge forward recklessly, Igris positions himself. He studies the battlefield. He protects. He doesn't just fight for Jinwoo, he guards him. The evolution here is profound. Igris went from being a barrier that destroyed anything in its path to becoming a shield that stands between his king and danger. The core instinct, protect the highest power, remained, but the target of that instinct flipped completely, and there's an emotional layer too. In moments where Jinwoo is at his most vulnerable, not in battle, but in spirit, Igris is always near. It's as if his shadow carries a residual awareness that his king must never fall, not just physically, but symbolically. Igris didn't just get stronger, he became loyal, and that loyalty, it evolved from programming into something that looks almost like devotion. Beru, the most terrifying evolution in the entire army. If Igris is the heart of Jinwoo's army, Beru is the soul and the chaos. Before his death and extraction, Beru was the Ant King, the absolute pinnacle of the Jeju Island ant colony. A being who evolved through pure, savage consumption, eating the strongest creatures on the island until he became something that even S-rank hunters feared. His personality in life? Arrogant, sadistic. He viewed every living thing as either prey or a temporary obstacle. Now look at Beru after extraction. Yes, he is still terrifying. Yes, he still speaks with dramatic flair and treats most beings as inferior. But here's where his evolution gets genuinely fascinating. Beru developed humility. Not completely, not overnight, but it grew. The moment Jinwoo dominated him in battle actually crushed his will and forced his shadow to submit something cracked inside Beru's psychology. For the first time in his existence, he encountered something stronger than himself, and instead of being destroyed by that realization, he was liberated by it. Beru's evolution is unique because he didn't just gain power under Jinwoo, he gained purpose. He stopped fighting to consume and started fighting to protect, specifically, Jinwoo's mother, whom he guarded in one of the most unexpected and emotionally touching subplots in the entire series. An Ant King. A creature born from violence and hunger, becoming a gentle protector of a sick woman who couldn't even see his true form. That is character evolution, at its finest. That is solo leveling, showing you that death, under the right master, can become something beautiful. Tank, Iron, and the shadow soldiers who grew in silence. Not every evolution in Jinwoo's army is dramatic. Some are quiet, some are slow, and they are just as important. Take Tank, the shadow beast that Jinwoo extracted early in his journey. Tank doesn't speak, Tank doesn't philosophize. But watch how Tank moves in battle across the series. Early on, Tank charges forward alone, a blunt instrument. Later, Tank coordinates. Tank flanks enemies to create openings for Igris. Tank moves like a chess piece rather than a bulldozer. Nobody wrote Tank a character arc. Nobody gave Tank a dramatic speech. But Jinwoo's mana, Jinwoo's intent, Jinwoo's growth, it seeped into Tank. And Tank evolved. Iron is another example. Extracted from a dungeon boss knight, Iron began as a straightforward heavy hitter. But as Jinwoo leveled up and the army became more complex, Iron started adapting his combat role, anchoring formations, drawing aggression, creating windows for faster shadows to exploit. The lesson from these soldiers is crucial. Evolution in the Shadow Army isn't always a breakthrough moment. Sometimes it's accumulated experience, sometimes it's exposure to a growing king. The Shadows don't just inherit Jinwoo's power, they inherit his intelligence, his battlefield awareness, his will to win at any cost. The Shadow Monarch's influence, the real reason they evolve. Here's the question nobody asks. Why do the Shadows evolve at all? They're dead. They shouldn't be learning, they shouldn't be growing, they should be static imprints of what they once were. But they're not. And the reason is Sung Jinwoo himself. The Shadow Monarch is not just a title, it is a living, growing power that radiates through every soldier in the army. As Jinwoo evolves, as he breaks limits, as he grows in strength, wisdom, and emotional depth, that energy flows through his shadows. His shadows aren't separate from him, they are extensions of him. And so when Jinwoo grows, they grow. When Jinwoo becomes more than a hunter and starts becoming a protector, a leader, a king, his shadows reflect that transformation. This is why Beru became gentle. This is why Igris became devoted. This is why even the smallest, weakest shadows in the army fight with a ferocity that defies their original power levels. They aren't just fighting because they are commanded to. They are fighting because somewhere in the darkness of their extracted souls, they feel what Jinwoo feels. His rage becomes their rage. His love for what he protects becomes their love. His refusal to let anyone he cares about fall, that becomes their mission too. The Shadow Army is not an army of slaves. It is an army of mirrors, each one reflecting a different facet of who Sung Jinwoo is, was, and is still becoming. So the next time you watch Jinwoo call forth his shadows, when you see Igris kneel, when Beru roars, when the entire army rises from the darkness, remember this. Every single one of them evolved. Every one of them carries a story. Every one of them is proof that in solo leveling, death is not the end of a journey. It is the beginning of a deeper one. If you want more deep dive lore analysis like this, the hidden psychology, the untold backstories, the evolution that ranking videos never cover, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. Drop in the comments, which Shadow Soldier do you think has the most interesting evolution? I read every single one. If you enjoyed this deep breakdown, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Anime Secret Explained for more hidden lore.